Hey guys, back with another video for you today. I've got the guest here with me, Joe.
Hello everyone.
So once again, we're doing a profile of another house. I rarely have spoken about Plume Impression, but since So Avant-Garde is doing their 30% off deal this weekend, we're going to cover this house. We're going to talk about 9 of their fragrances. And if you're interested in any of the fragrances, you can take 30% off with Sebastian30. That's the discount code. So if you want to find out about Plume Impression, then please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian. This is Joe.
Hello, hello.
So Joe's been coming by to shoot videos, brand overview videos. I think that's a good series of fragrances to do with him. Sometime in the near future, I'll have you bring your collection and we can talk about your journey.
Indeed.
And journey into fragrances. So do you know Plume Impression?
I've smelled all of these in the past. I know that you're offering a 30% discount with So Avant-Garde. You have a bit of a promo with that, and in all reality, I would spend full price. I would spend my own money full price for some of these fragrances. So for you folks out there, I would definitely take advantage of that promo going on right now.
Yeah, I think it's a great promo. It only happens 4 times a year during specific seasons. This is the autumn sale for 30% off. It's everything on the So Avant-Garde website, and these 9 fragrances are there. And then also everything, like I said, but except for the Mind Games fragrances, there's no discounts available. So why don't we go ahead and get started? We're going to first talk about Art Nouveau, the fragrance created by Marc Daniel Heimgartner. Actually, I just met him. He introduced himself to me at ELEGANCE earlier this year. He just created a new fragrance for Kajal. But here's Art Nouveau, and it features notes of Magnolia, Osmanthus, Peach, Jasmine, White Musk, Champagne Accord, Peony, Rose, Cassis, Amber, Sandalwood, Vetiver, and Patchouli. So what do you think about this one?
I am a fan of this one. This one wasn't necessarily the favorite from the house. There are a few further in the line that we have here that really do stand out to me. This one is a good fruity floral fragrance, so it's got that youthful exuberance to it. It is feminine in its qualities, but as we've mentioned many times on this channel, wear what you want when you want. We do not judge by any means. The Osmanthus and the peach definitely come out together, though. I feel like those work hand in hand quite a bit for me.
So interesting. It's fruity floral, like he said, but for me, there's a laundry fresh, clean something about it. And I think it's the combination of the white musk, the fizziness of the champagne accord, and the peony as well. Osmanthus is a flower that usually is drunk as a tea in China. I don't know if they do it here as well. But it does create that peachy or apricot-y, stone fruit-like smell. And I think the peach really amplifies that. But it's beautiful. It's got a tartness as well, along with that whole laundry-like freshness.
Yeah, no, it's a great fragrance. And as I mentioned on this channel in the past, it's just not something that I would reach for, but I know many would.
Okay.
Yeah, great fragrance.
So next fragrance, we're talking about DUALITE Magnifique, this one right here. So this is a fragrance created by Jordi Fernandez. I'm starting to recognize this perfumer's name. I've been speaking about him quite a bit with some Zara fragrances, and he's done fragrances for Ex Nihilo, Ojar, a lot of different brands, and finally his name is coming out. And I didn't realize he had done these fragrances. So this is DUALITE Magnifique. It's oud rose, akigala wood, the very famous Givaudan proprietary ingredient that's supposed to smell like a cleaned up patchouli, along with saffron, suede, leather, davana, cypriol, and amber. So what did we get with this one?
This one, I believe, was Plume's take on a Middle Eastern scent, with that oud rose combo. Obviously, we've seen that many times before. This one for me wasn't anything. It wasn't anything groundbreaking. It wasn't anything new for my nose, which in the world of oud, like I mentioned, oud and rose, that scent combo in the oud world is very oversaturated in my opinion. And for me,
Overdone?
It's overdone, yeah. And I don't think that this one stood out enough for it to be that next oud rose that we should talk about.
Interesting. You know, it's not one of my favorites from the house, because I have already ranked the entire list. We'll tell you our ranking later. This one is not at the very bottom. It's kind of close. What I like about this one is the saffron, and I think the leather in this one is made with the saffron. And somehow I'm really enjoying saffron leather a lot more than leather. And it's kind of a breath of fresh air with this one, but still not ranked very high. I enjoy it, but I am burned out on oud rose combo. It's
there's a lot
way
of them.
overdone.
There's so many.
Yeah. All right, next we've got Eclat de Joie. Is that how you say it? Or Joie?
Joie.
This is created by Daniel Visentin. I remember his name. Did he do a fragrance for Amouage? I'm forgetting now what he did.
That name rings a bell as well.
It's Orris, Galbanum, Vetiver, Black Pepper, Tangerine, Coriander, Ginger, Musk, and Jasmine. This one doesn't really go much anywhere for me. It's also a bit subdued. Some of the notes are just like not coming out as much. Thoughts?
I pick up on the galbanum, but it isn't necessarily galbanum.
Galbanum.
It isn't.
I've been corrected.
It's okay. I appreciate it. It's not necessarily overly green. It is green, and it does have some powdery facets from the Orris.
I think the Orris covers the Galbanum.
Yeah, I think
it like pushes itself on it.
It's definitely powderier than it is green, even though it does say there's vetiver and galbanum. I think the Orris is definitely the star of the show here. There's a little bit of a clean white floral touch from the Jasmine, but it's not going to be forefront. It will be kind of in the background a little bit.
I mean, I like what I'm smelling. It's just not shouting at me. It's just kind of hiding, and it just doesn't want to come out, which I like my fragrances to make a statement. This one's something very shy and private.
If you are a shy person, though, and you like shy fragrances, could be the one.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Eclat de Joie.
Eclat de Joie.
Or Joie.
Joie.
Up next, we have another fragrance created by Jordi Fernandez. It's Elegance CUIREE, this one right here. This one's definitely ranked very high for me. I really, really love the way this one smells. And I'll tell you what it reminds me of in a little bit. But I really like this leather. This is really great. Mm-hmm. This is so good. And you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Iris Malikan from Maison Crivelli. And it smells a bit like galbanum, but they're not mentioning there's galbanum here. It's juniper berries, vetiver. But a really delicious leather. This is a really, really enjoyable leather with sweetness, which I like.
Yeah, and Sebastian just resprayed the blotter card, and it's the opening on this one is quite nice. There's a sweetness there, and I'm not exactly sure where the sweetness is coming in from. Could be from the juniper berries. However,
I think it's the amber.
Yeah, it could be the amber as well. I think juniper berries sometimes go a little bit more aromatic for me. But this one is a very, very nice leather. It's exactly what I would want from a leather fragrance.
This is actually really wearable. It's not animalic whatsoever. It also acts a bit like suede leather. I feel like there's a bit of Orris in there because Iris Malikan from Maison Crivelli, which this is reminding me of, is all about Orris and leather and galbanum. So there's some similarities, but really great fragrance.
Yeah, and it's very warm and inviting for a leather especially. Yeah.
And now that we're heading to autumn, I think that leather Elegance CUIREE will be perfect.
Great for the season.
All right, next up we have a fragrance created by perfumer Dalia Izem. Sounds like a Turkish name. We've got Etat de Grace, this one right here. So I do have to say there's a lot of fruity apricot-y kind of fragrances in the mix here. So maybe the people behind the brand enjoy apricots or stone fruits or something.
Something like that.
So this one features notes of apricots, tonka beans, carnation, tuberose, peony, patchouli, cedar, and oak moss. This wasn't that exciting for me, but maybe a little bit. Although no, this was exciting for me actually. Originally when I was testing these out, this one I was not familiar with. I enjoyed it. It's kind of ranked lower now. But I think I like the fruitiness of the apricots.
This one is also ranked somewhat low for me. However, if you are in the market for something stone fruity with that apricot vibe to it, you're going to get lots of apricots in this one. And for me, this is all about apricots. It has tuberose, which kind of plays off of the apricots a little bit in a nice fashion. However, compared to some of the other fragrances in the house, it did fall a little short for me.
Yeah, the apricots with the tuberose, there's kind of like an apricot milk-like effect here with the tuberose, creating some kind of a really soft milkiness.
Yeah, kind of a creamy creamy fruity experience. Yeah.
It's pretty good.
It's a good fragrance still, for my opinion. Some of the other
too fruity for you?
It might be a little too fruity. I'm not sure. That's possible. But yeah, for some of the other fragrances in the house, some of them definitely stood out more than this one did.
Okay. Next up, I think, is the pinnacle of this house, I think. It's my favorite from the house. It's Murmure D'Ete, created by very, very famous perfumer Quinton Biche.
Quinton Biche.
You know him, right? You?
Oh, yeah.
You?
Of course. we love Quinton Biche. Personally, one of my favorite fragrances from him, to kind of sidetrack a little bit, is Patchouli Magnetic from Maison Crivelli.
It's so weird. He likes Patchouli Magnetic, and he's the only person I've known that likes Patchouli Magnetic.
But I get compliments for it.
And me too.
Which is so strange, because everyone else I spray the car...
They don't like this fragrance.
I'll spray it for people when I invite them over to my house, and they don't like it. But when people smell it on me...
So strange.
Something happens.
I've never found anybody that likes that fragrance. I thought I was the only person, and I love the fact that it gives me compliments. But we'll have to talk about that in another video.
Indeed.
Right now we're talking about Murmure D'Ete, which is a fig fragrance, and it features fig pulp, fig wood, cypress, davana, freesia, cedarwood, sandalwood, tonka beans. And Quinton Biche has created something really, really delicious here. It's fruity, it's green, it's woody, it's slightly boozy, floral. Delicious. It's also very creamy. Sandalwood adds that creamy layer to that.
Kind of gives that fig milk.
Yeah,
vibe.
fig milk, exactly.
Yeah, no, it's a lovely fig fragrance. It does hint a little bit towards, at least for me, it hints a little towards Diptyque's fig, Philosikos. Yeah, Philosikos. It has some of that greenness to it.
Yeah.
However, it also does have that milkiness, which I felt was lacking a little bit in the Diptyque one. Mm-hmm. This one kind of brings together the milkiness of a fig and the greenness of a fig and brings it together into one concoction. It's lovely.
Yeah, I also actually just shot today a video on some of my most recent favorite fig fragrances. This was featured in there, and I mentioned in that video that this is kind of like a cross between L'Arbre de la Connaissance by JOIE and Ichnusa by Parfum Roma, with a bit more fruitiness. So good. So good. So good.
Really great fig. If you are in the market for any sort of fig-centric fragrance, this is going to be the one. Murmure D'Ete, really great.
Lovely fragrance.
Lovely.
All right, up next we've got a fragrance created by Marc Buxton called Pop Heart. This one right here. You guys know Marc Buxton, right? Do you know Marc Buxton's perfumes?
I am actually not familiar with... I'm sure if you were to mention off a few that he's done, I would. However, I am actually not familiar with the name itself.
So this is... Well, Marc Buxton did fragrances for Comme des Garçons. He's done Le Labo's Vetiver fragrance.
Which I actually love. That smoky vetiver is great.
And then he did Lamar from Kajal. Do you know that one? It's another pineapple. This is a pineapple fragrance.
For me, pineapple is such a prominent note. For my nose picks up on pineapple. So when I smelled this, I immediately got that pineapple. And I think it's really great. It's got that fruitiness and kind of that gourmand aspect.
To me, it's almost like you have a Middle Eastern style fragrance. Like there's oud in here, which I don't see mentioned anywhere. There's this woodiness in there, mixed in with all the fruitiness and the caramel and things like that.
Yeah.
This is not my favorite. I much prefer his Lamar for Kajal. That stuff is so delicious, and the pineapple... To me, the pineapple in this doesn't stand out as much. It's kind of blended too much, whereas in Lamar, it really stands out, and I like its sweet tart qualities. Here, I'm not getting pineapple much.
For me, I'm getting lots and lots of pineapple, but again, I think my nose is somewhat sensitive to pineapple.
It's one of my favorite fruits. I love it.
Oh, it's great. Great to eat, great to smell. Like, what's not to love about pineapple? But, yeah, for me, I definitely do get the pineapple, but I could see what Sebastian's saying, where the notes around it definitely are amplified. It's not necessarily all pineapple. Even for me with the nose sensitive to pineapple, I can pick up on the caramel sweetness, kind of that muskiness from like the unmentioned oud in here, and that.
Did you get that?
I do kind of get a little bit of like a Middle Eastern tinge, and whenever I think Middle Eastern, I go towards like saffron, oud.
Yeah.
Things like that.
That's what I was thinking. Leather, saffron, root, and
there's something in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good fragrance though.
Okay, we've got another fragrance created by Jordi Fernandez. I think Jordi Fernandez has done 3 of the fragrances here. This is Ketal, this one right here. This one's actually quite lovely. And once again, guess what? It's starring apricots.
Gotta have the stone.
This is the fruit of this brand.
Indeed it is.
But this one's actually quite good. He did a good job with this one. I'm starting to like this perfumer, Jordi Fernandez. This is apricots, pink pepper, dry amber, musk, orris, patchouli, cedarwood, jasmine, and sandalwood. This is not apricots are not like in your face. It's quite spicy and ambery here. Some powder comes through, but very nicely blended. And once again, it has a bit of a Middle Eastern-esque tinge to it.
Yeah. And I've mentioned before on this channel that I get kind of a golden orangey tonality when it comes to amber. I kind of picture that color.
I do too.
And I do get that from this fragrance. I agree with Sebastian said about that amber facet running through this fragrance. But the apricots are there. They're not by any means in the background. They're definitely there. But
what was the other one that we had apricots?
There was
Etat de Grace?
Etat de Grace, and then the first one, I think Art Nouveau had Osmanthus and Peach.
Etat de Grace, the apricots were a lot more pronounced. This one, there's something really elegant about it. Everything is like blended finely.
It's very
Nothing
nice
is
blend.
jumping out at you. Just a smooth ride.
Yeah.
Plus, it has that kind of Middle Eastern-esque vibe. But once again, unlike Pop Heart, this one is not like in your face. Just perfect, smooth.
Yeah, and
blending.
We can definitely attribute some of that to like the creaminess and smoothness of Sandalwood, or possibly even some of the Jasmine as well. But overall, the blend is very nice, and that one's definitely ranked up there a bit for me.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right, last but not least, we've got another fragrance created by Dalia Izem. This is the second time with her on this list. Yeah. This is RIVALITE Imperiale. So with this one, we've got dried fruits, cinnamon, tobacco, tonka, vanilla, amber, mirabelle, patchouli, sandalwood. What do you like about this one?
This one is actually my favorite from the house, and me and Sebastian have a bit of a disagreement on this one. I will spoil that for Sebastian, but this one I pick up on lots and lots of cinnamon. We were speaking before, and we came to the agreement that it was somewhat similar to Wajan from Parfums de Marly.
It's trying to be, but can't, I think.
I personally think it's doing a great job. But I pick up on the cinnamon. It's definitely very spicy. There is a bit of a fruity tonality to it. Some sweetness from the tonka beans and vanilla, and the tobacco also is fairly pronounced for me. A little earthiness from patchouli as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll respect what he says about this one. I just think it's trying to be, but it can't. And nothing wrong with the perfumer, because she did a great job on the previous one, but for some reason it's just not executed correctly. There's something, I don't know how to say this, but it's just not coming off right. I want it to smell like it because it's reminding me of it, but it's completely going into another direction and failing at, like, is it trying to be something similar to Wajan or Ambre Narguilé or Angel Share or those fragrances, or is this trying to be something different? If it's trying to be something different, I'm disappointed. If it's trying to be similar to those other fragrances, I'm still disappointed with it. So I don't know what it is.
When you mentioned Ambre Narguilé, I definitely am smelling that in this as well.
Yeah?
I do pick that up, for sure.
Well, I think Wajan was copying Ambre Narguilé, because that came out in the early 2000s.
Yeah, that was an older fragrance.
And then so many others. But I didn't rank this really low, but
lower than me.
I didn't rank it high.
You ranked it lower than me.
All right, now on to the ranking. I'm starting off with Eclat de Joie for my number 9. I just think this was really boring. It was something that smelled pretty nice, but it was not screaming at me. It was just hidden, hiding and not wanting to come out. It was shy.
Yeah, this was the shy fragrance, and for me, that was, I'll spoil a bit again, but that was my number 8. For me, my number 9 was Dualite Magnifique. And for a leather fragrance, usually I expect something a bit more bombastic and kind of eccentric smelling, if you will. But for me, this one wasn't doing that for me. And that's just my personal opinion. There was leather in there, but kind of like what Sebastian said.
Do you really think all leather should be bombastic? Do you think Elegance CUIREE is bombastic? I'm putting you on the spot.
You are so putting me on the spot right now. That's great, though. Hey, no. Got to think on my feet here. I think with Elegance CUIREE, I'll get to that when we do our rankings. I'll get to that. But yeah, Dualite and Magnifique, that's gonna be my number 9. It just wasn't what I wanted from a leather fragrance. I'll just say that.
Okay. Okay. So my number 8 is Pop Heart. I just think it was missing something, and yeah, I don't know. I didn't really like this one.
Yeah, this one's ranked a little bit higher for me, but
I think it's the pineapple. It just didn't really smell like in-your-face pineapple.
Yeah.
I wanted something more from it, but it it didn't deliver, unfortunately. But I think everything else I do enjoy a lot more.
Yeah. I'll definitely say that. For me, my number 8 was Eclat de Joie. De Joie.
That was my number 9.
So yeah, I'm doing the thing where I'm one ahead of Sebastian, or Sebastian's one ahead of me sometimes. But this one, I'm gonna piggyback off what Sebastian said. It was definitely it was shy. It was a timid fragrance, and it wasn't bombastic.
Hey, we can call it timid.
Timid, yeah, exactly. There we go. But
what's your name? Tim. Last name Id.
Yeah. Hi, my name's Tim Id. But this one, it wasn't. It didn't do enough for me, and it did feel like a lot of things were kind of hiding in the background.
But you know, some people like fragrances like that. They like shy fragrances.
Yeah.
They don't want their fragrances to make a statement.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Because what it had a lot going for it. It's just hiding.
Subdued.
For
sure.
Yeah. So my number 7 is DUALITE MAGNIFIQUE. Okay. So I did rank it low, but not as low as... I mean, I like this one, but I prefer the other fragrances more. What I liked about this one is that saffron. The saffron seemed like what they were using to create the leather accord. And there's fruitiness in there. It's bright, but do you want leathers to be bombastic, like Joe said, or do you want them to be just regular?
Yeah, a regular leather, if you will. My number 7 was Etat de Grace. And... this one was, it also didn't necessarily exclaim to me in a way. There was something about the slight fruitiness in here that I wasn't picking up on that I didn't enjoy too much. Again, a lot of the other fragrances in this house have spoken to me more than this one. But for this one, Etat de Grace was okay. That's just my opinion. Yeah.
Okay. That was one of my first loves from that house.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But it's not ranked at the top spot, so
okay.
Don't worry.
Okay, good.
But my number, what number are we on?
We're on number 6.
My number 6 is Art Nouveau.
Art Nouveau.
It was, yeah, this one, wow, this is really interesting. It's the Magnolia and Osmanthus. And it has a very laundry smell because of the white musk in there. Now that I'm thinking about it, this can move up. But it's pretty good. I think this is a kind of leaning feminine. It's a fruity, floral, musky, laundry-like cleanness. You can totally wear that in the summertime and really smell great.
Yeah, I have this one above Sebastian. I have this one at number 5. But for my number 6, I had to go with Pop Heart.
Okay.
Going back...
You don't love it that much.
No, I don't love it that much. It's okay. Actually, I won't say it's okay. It's a good fragrance. And if you're in the market for anything gourmand, fruity, sweet... it would definitely be a good option for you. Again, my nose is quite sensitive to pineapple, so when the pineapple was in there, I definitely picked up on it, but I did also pick up on the surrounding notes, like the caramel and the other berries.
Strawberries.
I believe strawberries was in there, yes. It's a good fragrance, and it's another one that I think if you are a fan of fruity gourmands, it could definitely be a good choice for you. Personally, I'm not the biggest fan of a fruity gourmand, but... it could be a good choice if you...
I like fruity fragrances, but fruity gourmands are kind of tough.
Yeah. They're a bit overbearing, I feel like.
Okay, so my number 5 is RIVALITE. RIVALITE IMPERIALE. So, see, I put it right in the middle. Don't love it. I don't hate it. This is the one that was trying to be like Wajan, but it couldn't. I don't know. To me, it smells like one time we were talking about... marzipan in some fragrances.
That was
so that has that kind of a texture. It's got this kind of paste-like, creamy, wetter texture than dry. But it doesn't smell like marzipan. It's just like these fruits, apricot-y kind of things. Imagine you're making like some kind of apple tart, because it does have a bit of an apple-like quality with spices like cinnamon. So it has that kind of texture. But it's not become, it doesn't seem like it's executed 100% perfectly.
Fair enough. My number 5, like I just mentioned, was Art Nouveau. And for fruity floral, again, not necessarily something that I am going to reach for on a daily basis. It does have that clean, linen-y laundry detergent effect, which does separate it from a lot of other fruity florals out there, in my opinion.
So you're getting the laundry...
I do, yeah. There is a cleanliness to it.
I like that.
Yeah, no, it is quite nice. And for warm weather, it would be a fantastic fragrance. I think it would radiate off your skin very nicely, and people would pick up on it. As far as, I mean, I have this ranked at number 5, and I don't ever reach for fruity florals, really. So that says something about the fragrance, because I do think it is unique for what it is trying to be, and I think they've executed it very well.
All right.
Yeah.
So my number 4 is Etat de Grace.
Etat de Grace.
That was one of my first favorites. It's once again, it's a fruity one, and I do like this. But you know what? It does remind me of RIVALITE a little bit, and I think it's the same perfumer.
Mm-hmm. I believe so.
Now this one I enjoy much more because I think it's not trying to be Wajan or trying to hide from being Wajan kind of a thing. I don't know. That fragrance is rubbing me the wrong way for some odd reason. I don't know why. But this is the same perfumer, and she's done a great job here. Mm-hmm. And I would totally spray myself with this one.
Yeah.
It was one of my first loves from this house. And still at number 4, I think it's pretty darn good. I like that fruitiness.
For me, my number 4 was Ketal. And Ketal had that very interesting Middle Eastern tinge to it, in my opinion. Even though Ketal is Spanish, they decided to go with a bit of a more Middle Eastern swing to the fragrance, and I think it was executed very well. It's a very interesting fragrance. Like we mentioned, there was no saffron, there was no oud mentioned in the note breakdown. However, there is something coming out of it that is leaning in that direction that leads my nose to believe there is something like that in the note breakdown.
That's what I liked about that one.
Yeah, it's kind of a mystery fragrance for that reason, because there's something in there that isn't being mentioned, which I tend to get drawn towards a little bit, and I get curious about it. But I would definitely wear this. I think it's great.
And speaking of, Ketal is my number 3.
Ketal.
I really like this one. It's so elegantly done. Jordi Fernandez did a great job with it. It's like he put the right amounts. Nothing is jumping out. Everything is smooth. There's a coziness about it. Plus, we're getting that kind of Middle Eastern tinge with it. Saffron leather is really prominent here. I really like that one.
I think it's a really good fragrance. It was well blended, and yeah, there's a good elegance about it.
Yeah.
Leading me to my number 3 fragrance, Elegance CUIREE, or CUIREE.
We don't agree with that one.
This one, I know I mentioned I want my...
Oh, wait, no, we do agree.
Well, yeah, we do agree on this one.
I thought we were talking about RIVALITE.
No. RIVALITE is even higher
even
for
higher.
me.
Jeez.
Even higher. But, Elegance CUIREE, this one, I know I mentioned that I like my leathers bombastic and in your face. This one...
It's not.
I know, and I'm totally gonna contradict my words on this, but the way they blended this, it is elegant, and the name does not lie to you. It is a very smooth, inviting, warm leather that isn't in your face, but it's bombastic in a different sense. It's bombastic in a sense that it's leather done in an amazing way, and people will pick up on that when they smell it. They'll be like, that is a great leather you're wearing. If they have a good nose, maybe they'll pick up on it. But for me, I think it's lovely. There's a sweetness, there's a amberiness to it, and the leather and everything in it is well blended. Yeah.
Well, that's the same fragrance I picked for number 2.
Okay.
I'm absolutely head over heels for this one. I almost put it at number 1, but you know what? I have 2 other fragrances that smell like this. I have a fragrance from the house of Boadicea the Victorious that smells like this. And of course, Iris Malikan from Maison Crivelli smells like this. Different, but what a wonderful fragrance it is. It's so delicious. Leather. I mean, the name, Elegance CUIREE, is very elegant for sure.
Yeah.
It's very dressy, smells expensive, smells like expensive things.
Yeah.
Going to something very expensive, some kind of a ball or something, and you're dressed to the nines and wearing this really, really amazing leather fragrance. It's not animalic. It's got the sweetness. It's powdery, and there's greenness there, like herbs, galbanum, because it's reminding me of Iris Malikan, which has that very, very prominent galbanum. This one doesn't say it's galbanum. It says juniper berries, which is the only green thing I'm seeing in the notes. But it's so super good.
So good.
I almost put it at number 1, but I'm putting the other one at number 1.
You'll see. Keep watching. Next up for number 2, I have Murmure D'Ete.
Murmure D'Ete.
D'Ete. Pardon me. fig. It's so good. That, like I mentioned before, it's that mixture of the fig milk and the green fig and a little bit of fruitiness as well. It's a very lovely fig, and I do like fig fragrances. But this one really stands out for me. I mentioned it before, but if you do have a nose for fig, and if you want to get your nose on a great fig fragrance, definitely go smell Murmure D'Ete.
This is good. This is my number one. Instantly, it's my number one because I'm obsessed with figs. I played around under fig trees as a kid, and I've just really enjoyed the smell of the tree. This is mostly the tree, but there is some fruitiness for sure. But it's bitter, sweet, green, aromatic, a bit creamy.
A little lactonic.
Yeah, I think we're getting some milkiness from that sandalwood note, but it's a great job done by Quinton Biche. Really Although, lovely. I should say it's not anything original. I've smelled so many fragrances like this. I'm a big lover of fig fragrances. Don't forget to watch my latest fig fragrances video. This is featured in there, but it's done so well. That smells great.
Really great fig.
Yeah, so my number one is Murmure D'Ete.
And my number one, RIVALITE IMPERIALE. The one that Sebastian thinks is not doing what it's supposed to do. But that's the great thing about this channel.
What is this? This fragrance? I don't understand.
One of the great things about what we're doing right now is that we're showing that noses pick up on different things and that people have different tastes. And for me, this one I think was done very well. I do see what Sebastian's saying with how it is trying to do something like Wajan. I definitely do pick up on that. But for me, I think this one is almost more cinnamon and tobacco heavy than Wajan was. I mean, there was lots and lots of spices in Wajan, don't get me wrong, but I just get holiday, and I think maybe the changing of the seasons right now, going into autumn, maybe my nose is going to be a little bit more susceptible to something like this, but I personally thought that it was executed very well, and yeah, that's going to be my number one, RIVALITE IMPERIALE.
All right. Okay. See, we don't always pick the same things.
No, we don't.
So guys, thanks so much for watching today's video on Plume Impression fragrances. Have you discovered this collection yet? Let us know. Put a comment down below. Which one sounds the best to you after watching this video? And don't forget to take advantage of that discount code. It's Sebastian30. It's good today and tomorrow. Started on Friday. And it's 30% off on all the fragrances on So Avant-Garde, including all of these, except for the Mind Games fragrances. Thanks so much for watching. I'll have Joe come back soon, and we'll do a video on him and then his collection and how he got started. But thanks so much for watching. As I said, please like this video, please share it, follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Bye.
Thank you.